friends, it's Sarah from She's Crafty and She Knows, and today I'm going to show you how to use the banner punch board by We Are Memory Keepers to make really cute little banners out of paper. So there are three kind of little shapes you can do. This is just the little pamphlet that comes with the punch board. There's pennant, which is kind of the typical little triangle shape, flag shape, and then crest. So I'm going to show you real quick how to do it. This is a really cool little tool. And so we're going to start with the pennant shape. So first I'm going to cut the paper down. Let's move this out of the way. I'm going to do 5.5 inches wide for all of them. That's the widest you can do for the flag and the crest shape because of the way the punch board is made. So I'm going to go ahead and do 5.5 inches. Like that. I'm going to cut all of them down. So first we're going to go ahead and start with the pennant. So like I said, it's kind of the normal little triangle that you're probably used to. And so what you're going to do is this whole little thing actually lifts up. This is like an arm that lifts. Right here is the cutter. It's stored in there. So you pull it out and it has, hopefully you can see that, like a little blade on it. And then this part, it's a little round thing. It actually sits in the groove. So I'm not going to put the paper in yet. It sits in the groove. So let's see if I can show you this. So when you have it like this little round part on the cutter right there fits into the groove like this. So that way when you see it from the side, hopefully you can see that it's cutting the paper. You can cut the paper right there. So, and then you just pull it out. So super, so it stores in there, pull it out. There's the blade and the round thing. The round thing sits in the groove of the plastic. And then that way when you do this, this blade is cutting, there's a tiny little groove right along here. And so it's sliding in there. Hopefully that makes sense. Once you have it in your hands, it'll make more sense. So you're gonna lift this up and you're gonna put it where you want it. And so you really can do, like, let's see, because of the width I did, you want the corner. So like if I do it up here at 8.5 and I cut it, it's gonna cut it where these grooves are. So hopefully you can see this line right here. So if I do that, it'll leave a straight piece and then be angled and it would look kind of funny. So you want the corners to be at least where the groove is or outside. I hope that makes sense. You can play with it, but if you do it up here, it's gonna be a triangle that's like straight on the top and then cut in. So I wanna lower it. So let's do like where that says 7. I'm gonna kind of center it. This is gonna make it 7 inches long. That's what the number's telling you. So put the fold down, the little arm down. It has magnets that kind of hold it. Once you get it in here, you still can kind of wiggle it to make sure it's straight. That way it's cut really straight. Okay, pull the little thing out, put the plastic circle part in the groove, and then you're just gonna slide it along. This is cardstock, so it's a little bit harder to cut. You're gonna pick it up at the end and you're gonna go to the top of the other side, put the plastic little circle in the groove, go down again. And there is our 7-inch little pennant shape right there. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, let me put that back. Okay, so right here is where you cut the holes so that you can string the pin. If you don't want to string it, that's okay. You don't have to do it this way. But if you want to string it, I'm going to lift it so that you can see a little bit better. There is a straight way to cut it. Let me show you. I'm going to slide this piece of paper in there, even though we're not going to punch it yet. But so like for one of the straighter edges, you would put it in like that to punch it. But for the pennant, since it's on an angle, it has like a little groove right here for angled shapes for the pennant, and it goes right there. So you don't want to do it like that or it's going to cut it weird. You slide it there like that, and so it kind of just fits in there because of the groove. So line it up. So it would be flat to here. I'm going to lift it one more time. Sorry, guys. So it slides in there just like that. So it's flat on this part and slid into that groove. And then while it's like that, you just push down. It's going to be harder because it's cardstock. And then you flip it, do the same thing. Make sure it doesn't go over. You want to make sure it's hitting that groove, but not going over. Perfect. Okay, so that is the pennant shape. So now we're going to move on to the flag. And so what we're going to do for the flag is you're going to lift the arm the same, and it goes down here and it cuts. So for this, for the flag and the crest, this piece of paper, it recommends not being wider than 5.5 because you're using this part down here. So if it's too wide, it's going to go underneath the arm and you're not going to be able to cut. So 5.5 is what it recommends. Okay, just like that. So you're gonna do the same thing where the plastic circle goes in this groove like that. It's gonna be 2 motions. So you're gonna put it in there. Take it out. Same thing. So there is the flag shape, and then you can cut it whatever length you want. I left it long because I didn't know what I'd want to do with it. So you can cut it short, cut it whatever. So this is where you can change the width too. So 5.5 is the widest it recommends, but you could do them really narrow. You could do tiny little tags like this big. So that is the flag shape. So say, since the other one's 7, I'll just do it 7 as well. Let's see. And store that back in there. Okay, now for the little punch at the top, you're gonna slide it all the way over. So they're the same length, but one is the pennant and one is the flag. Okay, then for the crest is a little bit different because you actually have to do it kind of backwards, and it has to fold in like this, which makes it a little bit weird. I'm afraid it's gonna in the paper, honestly. That's why I didn't cut it that long, because I didn't know how I was gonna bend it. So let's see. Get like that. Same thing, so. Oh, I didn't go all the way to the center. There we go. Well, I kind of messed that up, guys. Okay, the blade kind of nicked that one. I think, honestly, the cardstock is a little bit hard with that. I think it's going to be easier to do that with thinner paper that way. But now that we have it, we're going to go ahead and cut it down to 7. And do the punches if you're going to string it. So this would be much easier with like scrapbook paper or regular paper. This cardstock is really thick, and I probably should have used something a little bit thinner, but this kind of shows you how easy it is to do the different shapes. So once again, we have the pennant, the flag, and the crest shape. So super easy to use. Can do all different. You could do one banner with all the different shapes. You could do a bunch of just the pennant or crest, flag, whatever, and string it. And obviously, if you don't want to be stringing it, then just don't do the punches at the top. But that is super easy. So I'm going to use this tool to go ahead and make a banner that I needed to make for my daughter's bedroom. And so I'll go ahead and have that on here so you can just watch me doing it a couple more times just to get the hang of it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is use the same banner punch board to make a banner for my daughter's room. It's going to hang on like an old antique window. It's going to be really cute. So I got this scrapbook paper pad at Hobby Lobby, and I already picked out the colors that I'm going to use that match her bedspread really well. And so we're just going to cut these down and use these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start with this bottom one. I know that I want them 4.5 inches wide. These are my letters. They're like this size. And so I know I already measured 4.5 inches wide, and I'm going to do the flag shape. So let me go ahead and cut. You know what? I'm going to cut a couple. I'm going to cut 2 pieces at a time. Save me a little bit of time. Okay, 4.5 inches wide. And y'all, I'll link all the supplies I'm using in the description below this video so that you have them just in case you want them. Here's everything 4.5 inches wide. And so what we're going to do, I learned the hard way that if you cut the length first, it doesn't end up the size that you want it to be. And so just trust me on that, because when you do it, let me show you. So first of all, I should have explained earlier. So these horizontal lines right here, the ones that you, well, they're vertical this way, but they're going across the board this way. They show you how to center it for the width. So if it's 3 inches wide, it shows you where to put. So for 4.5 inches wide, it shows you it's going to be on this little line between the 4 and the 5 on each side. So it helps you line it up so that way it's centered. So you're lining up like this. So let me show you real quick. If I line it up like that and I close this thing, which has magnets in it that really keep it centered. So try to keep it as still as you can. Close the arm. Okay, so when you cut it right here, which is the shape I'm going to do, you see how it's cutting off this extra down here, like about almost an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, depends where it is. It's a lot right there. But it's cutting some off. And so if I put say I'm like, okay, I want a 6-inch length in here. Well, when you go and you put this down and cut it, it doesn't end up being 6 inches because it's cutting that off. So I learned this the hard way. So in my opinion, it's much easier to get the width that you want. Start with the width, drop this arm down, cut the bottom first, and then cut the length that you want after the bottom is done, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this just like we did before. Okay, so that did the bottom. So now I have the shape that I want. And so what I'm saying is it's a lot easier. I know that I want it 6 inches. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the length now that it's already done. You know what, I said 6. Now I'm questioning if it was 6 or 6.5. I can't remember. Oh no, it was 6.5. Yeah, 6.5. Okay, so now that it's cut, I'm gonna put the very end point of the flag shape at 6.5 and cut the width. So this is 6.5. Let me see if I have a scrap I can use to show you. Oh yeah, okay. So I think this piece is 6. I want to show you what I'm talking about. So this piece is 6.5. So if you start with the length that you want, I just want to explain this. No, I'm kind of jumping all around, so forgive me. So this is the 6.5 length that I wanted. So if I cut the length first, I want to show you what happens. So I'm like, this is the length I want. Well, then when I put this in here and cut this stuff off at the bottom, see this extra right here that it's cutting off changes the length of it. So now we know this one is the right length. Look at the difference. Yeah, it's not a full inch, but it's about 1/2 inch. Well, that kind of messes up everything because I learned this the hard way. Then with my ease on there, I don't have enough room to string it the way I wanted to. So if I were you, I would cut the shape of the end first and then cut for the length. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so there's my pink one that I've completed. The green one next. So now we're just gonna kind of keep doing the same thing. We're gonna center it where the 4.5 inch mark is, drop the arm down. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and cut all of the length. Okay, so I'm doing 6.5. So there's all of our little banners. And so I honestly don't think I'm gonna punch holes in it. I'm trying to decide. My fear is that if I punch holes in it, I don't think it's really thick enough to support the weight of it. And so I'm actually just gonna glue the letters on. And then I think I'm just gonna glue the top of the piece of paper to the cardstock. Trying to decide though. Or maybe I could punch holes and reinforce the back of the holes before I'm not sure what I think. Maybe let's try to punch it and see what it'll do. Okay, I think I know what I'm gonna do. I think just to be extra safe, I'm gonna go ahead and cut some cardstock down and kind of reinforce the back. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if that even makes sense, but I'm thinking it doesn't need to be maybe just 1 inch. Let's see. I'm just gonna do 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to use the other piece I did earlier. So that's plenty. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna do it like this and like glue it onto the back. And then that way it reinforces where the hole is. That's my idea. So let's see if I can get this to actually work, y'all. Do you ever feel like when you're crafting, you're just making it up as you go? That's kind of how I feel 99% of the time, if I'm being honest. And usually it turns out okay. But sometimes you make it up as you go and then you get to the end and you're like, that's not what I was picturing. Oh, I just cut that wrong. This is really thick scrapbook paper, so, I mean really thick cardstock, it's not scrapbook paper. So my little cutter is not having the easiest time cutting. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm actually gonna just use this scrapbook tape. Okay, thinking like that, and then I'm gonna line it up on the edge and the top. And cut off any extra. Like that. Okay, I think that will be good. That will reinforce the hole so that it could actually hang. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do with the rest of these, is just go ahead and put tape on the back of the white piece of cardstock and then tape it onto the scrapbook paper to just reinforce it before I punch the holes. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and punch the hole. And so hopefully this is not too hard because the cardstock is pretty thick. So I'm gonna kind of put them in the order I want them. Okay, just like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and use hot glue to hot glue the letters. These are just wood letters. I can't remember if I got them from Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I'll try to find them and link them in the description below as well, just so in case you're wanting to make something similar. So what I'm gonna do is just hot glue the letters onto here. I'm just gonna go ahead and put a good bit. I've had this already heating just for this, so. Want to put enough hot glue on there that it sticks, but not enough that it, you know, squishes out the bottom really. Okay, I'm gonna move that to the side. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut the jute that I have. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it plenty long. And I'm gonna go ahead and weave it in and out. You definitely wanna make sure your letters are all the way dry before you do this, but hot glue does dry very fast. Okay friends, so that's it. That's how I used my banner punch board by We Are Memory Keepers to make a really cute paper banner for my daughter's room. Like I said before, I'll have all the supplies linked in the description below this video. And if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and make sure you subscribe for more videos. Bye!
She's crafty and she knows it. She's crafty and she knows it. She's crafty and she knows. She's crafty and she knows.